Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to plunge into some really profound ideas and hopefully emerge with insights that stick with you.
That's the goal.
Today we're grappling with a question, it feels ancient, almost primal, but it's there, kind of breathing behind our choices every single morning, even if we don't say it out loud. It's this inquiry, both haunting and maybe liberating. Am I a trembling creature, or do I have the right?
Wow. Yeah.
And look, this isn't just some abstract philosophical thing for academics. It feels deeply personal, universal, really. It sets the stage for, well, a unique exploration into human choice, into self-determination.
Absolutely.
Our mission in this deep dive is to explore these subtle but incredibly powerful forces shaping our lives. We're drawing from this amazing, anonymously published philosophical text. We'll just call it The Source today. It really challenges us, I think, to face our deepest fears, our aspirations.
And what's so compelling, I find, is that this isn't just thinking for thinking's sake. It offers a practical lens, almost a spiritual one, maybe,
Yeah, I could see that.
to look at our daily decisions and, see their real impact, often unseen, on our inner world. The Source kind of invites us inward
Right.
to understand the currents guiding us. So yeah, our tone today will be reflective, insightful, maybe a little challenging. We're inviting you into this journey, peeling back layers of expectation, of doubt.
Okay, let's dive into that opening line because it's so potent. The Source starts. It's a strange question, isn't it? Yet it's the one that haunts us every morning when we look in the mirror. Just think about that. You wake up, the light's coming in, your mind probably jumps to emails, meetings,
The
breakfast.
usual stuff, yeah?
But underneath all that surface noise, the Source suggests there's this quiet hum, this fundamental question about who you are, your place. It's like a whisper. Will I live today as a trembling creature, forever excusing myself,
Yeah.
or as a human being who dares?
That distinction is key.
It really is. It's asking, do you step into your day with real agency, with that feeling of self-possession, like you have inner permission, or do you navigate it consciously, fearfully, always retreating from your own potential?
And it's not always this big, dramatic moment.
No, exactly. It's hidden. In the quiet moments, the small choices that just add up. They define the texture of our lives.
That's precisely it. This dilemma, it reflects a fundamental tension deep in our psychology. It's this constant dance between, say, self-preservation and self-actualization.
Like wanting safety, but also wanting more.
Exactly. Think of Maslow's hierarchy, right? The trembling creature might be stuck on those basic needs: safety, security, belonging, maybe even sacrificing the higher needs for growth, esteem, becoming who you could be.
Because it feels safer down there.
Right. Our primal side wants comfort, familiarity, the tribe's approval. But then there's the human being who dares. That part embodies this deep yearning for growth, for expressing our true self, pushing limits, even when it's uncomfortable.
And the haunting part.
Well, the haunting quality, as the Source puts it, suggests it's not easily solved. It lingers because it touches our deepest desires for both security and meaning. It keeps asking, are you just existing in the known, or are you truly living, reaching into your own depths? It's that battle, really, safety versus the soul's call.
It's incredibly intimate, isn't it? A question we maybe don't even admit to ourselves.
Right.
So let me ask you, listening right now, in your own quiet moments, those unguarded times, what choices do you make? Or maybe, what choices do you actively avoid making that speak to this? Do you find yourself defaulting to the easy path? Or do you try to challenge those inner voices telling you to shrink back?
That's the real reflection point.
So to dig deeper, we need to define this trembling creature. The Source says it's about forever excusing myself,
Yeah.
and crucially, living by fear. It's not just physical shaking, it's internal. A constant vibration of apprehension. Imagine like a magnificent bird in a cage.
Okay.
A beautiful cage maybe, but the door's wide open, gleaming even. The bird could fly out, feel the wind, see the sky, but it doesn't.
Stays inside.
Why? Maybe it's used to the bars. Maybe it fears the vast unknown. Or maybe it just doesn't believe it has the right to leave. It makes excuses. Safer here. What if I fall? Where would I even go?
Right. The self-talk.
That's the trembling creature, potential locked away, not by iron bars, but by an internal wall, a self-built one. It's this deep, almost melancholic hesitation to fully live your own life, the quiet tragedy of choosing comfort over flight.
It's a critical distinction and often painful to recognize. The trembling creature is marked by these self-imposed limits, often fueled by, what others might think, or a feeling of not being capable, or just habit, playing small.
It's subtle sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Powerlessness isn't always a big dramatic refusal. It can be chronic indecision. Not speaking up in a meeting, deferring your own desires to keep others happy.
Yeah, I see that.
And the contrast with deciding is just stark.
Wow.
Deciding implies active agency. Choosing to act despite fear or uncertainty. Taking ownership. Embracing the vulnerability of being you.
And this fear, it shows up everywhere, doesn't it?
Everywhere. From tiny hesitations like not sharing that great idea in a meeting,
You've all been there.
to big life decisions, putting off a passion project, delaying a career change, staying stuck in a relationship, all because the unknown feels scarier than the familiar, even if the familiar is unfulfilling.
And each time you hold back.
You reinforce that internal wall, brick by brick, building this fortress around your authentic self.
Which leads to this next point from the source.
Yeah.
And it's pretty stark. It claims, society trains us to tremble.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it's not saying there's some secret plot, right? It's more like a pervasive, often unconscious process. It shapes us from day one.
How so?
The source points to these pillars of conformity. To bow before laws, bosses, traditions, gods, and the faceless crowd.
Okay.
Think about it. As kids, we learn rules, respect authority, fit in. We learn what's okay, what's not, what gets praise, what gets criticism. We learn, often subtly, that going against the grain can mean punishment or ridicule or just being left out.
The pain of exclusion.
Yeah. That faceless crowd. It's that huge pressure to conform. Don't stand out. Don't be different. Don't be rebellious. And these pillars, while, yeah, may be necessary for order, they can subtly, or not so subtly, discourage our individuality, our voice, our courage to leap.
And if you connect this to our deeper human experience, these structures, vital for order, yes. They also install this kind of silent curriculum of fear inside us.
Curriculum of fear.
Yeah. Wow. Historically, evolutionarily, conforming was survival. Getting kicked out of the tribe, that was often a death sentence.
Right.
So there's this deep, almost genetic pull to fear authority, fear disapproval. But today, that instinct translates into being cautious about expressing ourselves, innovating, challenging things.
Even when it's safe, relatively speaking.
Exactly. These pillars, laws, corporate ladders, social rules, they set expectations, deviate, and an internal alarm goes off. Fear of disapproval, failure, isolation. And slowly, over time, it can erode our sense of agency, our willingness to take risks for who we really are. It's that quiet whisper, stay in line, don't make waves, safer here.
The source really doesn't pull any punches about the cost of this training, this bowing down. It states, powerfully, almost poetically sad, we learn to survive by fear. But trembling's not living. Trembling is the half-death of the soul.
Half-death of the soul, that phrase.
It just grabs you, right? It evokes this sense of quiet tragedy, spiritual stagnation, a slow erosion of who you are. It paints this picture of a life where you exist, maybe you check the boxes, fulfill obligations, but you don't truly thrive. Imagine waking up every day with that subtle nagging, what if? The whisper of the road not taken. The echo of a voice you silenced, a dream you shelved. It's not a collapse, it's a dimming, like a candle flickering, never quite out, but never burning bright.
Playing a supporting role in your own life.
Exactly. If fear is your main program, you might get by, you might avoid pain, but are you really engaging with life, with joy, purpose, the whole messy, beautiful spectrum?
Precisely. And it's not just about what you don't do, it's about who you become when you're constantly avoiding. The source makes that stark difference. Surviving by fear versus truly living.
Survival offers security, right? Or seem to.
An illusory security, maybe.
Yeah.
The comfort of the known, predictability, avoided risk. Keeps you inside the lines. But the half-death of the soul implies the security costs everything that matters, your spirit, your creativity, your authentic self.
So by always deferring to fear,
you're essentially shutting down vital parts of yourself. You stop exploring, creating, connecting with your deepest desires, expressing the unique person you are. It's not physical death, but yeah, a dimming of your inner light, a suppression of that vibrant energy, living a life that feels muted, unfulfilled, ultimately regretful, where potential just withers. So I'd invite you, listening, to really think. Where might you be surviving by fear in places you long to truly live? What passions are gathering dust? What truths have gone unspoken? What creative sparks have you let die out?
I have to go even deeper into this half-death of the soul. What does that actually feel like day to day? What's it stealing from us piece by quiet piece? The source links this cost to this striking, kind of haunting image, the wall inside every one of us.
Not an external wall, but internal.
Exactly. We build it ourselves. She is fear, habit, convention. She is the voice that says, you cannot, you must not. This wall, it's not just about avoiding pain. It's about actively suppressing our own truth, refusing to take a chance, choosing the comfy, predictable cage over the terrifyingly beautiful, wide-open road. It's that moment you have an idea, a different opinion, a feeling, an impulse, and that inner voice jumps in. Don't say it, you'll sound stupid. Not worth the hassle. Might get rejected. Shut up.
And another brick goes in the wall.
Yeah. Silencing more of yourself, dimming your own light. And that's where the emotion hits, right? That deep sadness of self-betrayal, that quiet grief for the unlived life.
That internal wall is such a powerful, chilling metaphor for the barriers we build, often unconsciously, to protect ourselves from threats or real or imagined ghosts of our fears.
Like in relationships, maybe? Or at work?
Exactly. When we silence our truth in a relationship because honesty feels too risky, or at work where challenging the status quo feels dangerous, we're reinforcing that wall. Choosing harmony or safety or acceptance over our own integrity, our authentic voice.
And the half-death happens in those moments.
Precisely. In those countless accumulated moments. When we refuse to risk being authentic, when we choose the cage, the familiar, the conventional, the approved path over the thrilling, scary prospect of the open road.
And the regret that follows.
That quiet regret, that nagging what if, that ache of unfulfilled potential. That's the soul protesting its own confinement. It's the slow buildup of unexpressed truths, untaken risks, that leads to feeling unfulfilled, like you're not really yourself, living a life that isn't quite yours.
That image of the cage over the open road, it's so vivid, isn't it?
It really is.
It just lays out the choice so clearly. Cage means security, predictability, no limits. Safety, yes, but maybe suffocating safety. The open road, freedom, discovery, maybe bliss, but also uncertainty, potential danger, and the huge, sometimes terrifying responsibility of navigating it yourself.
No map provided.
Right. It's the difference between just existing inside lines someone else drew and actively, consciously, bravely living your own adventure. And for so many, the instinct is stay in the cage. Choose the known, even if it's stifling, over the unknown, even if it holds the promise of freedom. There's a kind of sad beauty there, but also deep loss.
And the long-term psychological hit of always choosing the cage? Well, it's devastating to the spirit, plain and simple. It often leads to diminished self-worth because your actions are constantly telling you you're not capable of the open road, you don't have the strength.
You start to believe it.
You internalize it. And that means countless missed opportunities, not just external ones like jobs or experiences, but internal ones, chances for growth, learning, self-discovery, finding out how resilient you actually are. Over time, it adds up to this pervasive sense of unfulfilled potential. A quiet despair that you haven't lived up to who you could be, a haunting awareness of the person you might have become. It's not just regretting things you didn't do, it's the erosion of who you are when you consistently fail to show up fully.
So what open roads have you maybe shied away from without even realizing? What cages have you chosen, thinking they were safe, but maybe they just delivered stagnation, a slow retreat from life? These choices deeply shape how we see ourselves. Our life satisfaction, they leave a mark.
A subtle scar, yeah.
This brings us to some amazing literary echoes, moments where brilliant minds explore this exact question, trembling or deciding, often in really extreme ways. Our source points beautifully to Dostoevsky's Raskolnikov. You can almost see him, right? Wandering those grimy Petersburg streets, consumed by these forbidden thoughts, he asks the forbidden question, can one step over the line?
And it's not just about the law.
No. It's a radical, almost terrifying question about whether individual will, kind of superior consciousness maybe, can just transcend society's rules, moral codes. Can a person declare their own right to act outside the lines, rewrite the rules?
Huge, dangerous thought.
And the old pawnbroker, he thinks about killing. She's not just a plot device. The source says she is not just a woman. She is the wall inside every one of us. She is fear, habit, convention.
Wow. She embodies the wall.
Yeah, those forces, internal and external, that tell us you cannot, you must not, that define the line we're not supposed to cross. Raskolnikov's tormented struggle is like a magnified, dramatic version of our everyday dilemmas when that inner wall tells us to conform, stay quiet, tremble. He's like a dark mirror.
Precisely. Raskolnikov's struggle is this extreme, almost operatic exploration of the trembling versus deciding dilemma. His question, can one step over the line? It challenges the very foundations of morality, law, individual freedom. He's testing the limits of autonomy against the weight of convention. He desperately wants to prove he's not a trembling creature, but one who has the right.
And the pawnbroker as the symbol.
It's brilliant and chilling. She represents not just external constraints laws, taboos, judgment, but the internalized versions, the fear, the comforting but stifling habits, the oppressive weight of convention inside us, whispering doubts. Raskolnikov attacks that wall in the most horrific way, but his fight mirrors our smaller, daily battles when we think about defying expectations, speaking an unpopular truth, taking a path less traveled, a path that might isolate us.
And then shifting gears from Dostoevsky's intensity, we get Nietzsche, with his profound, often misunderstood insight. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow.
Such a powerful statement on purpose, resilience.
Absolutely, enduring hardship when you have that driving goal, that passion. But our source adds this crucial qualifier, a real gut punch for the trembling creature. But that why requires a leap. A trembling creature never leaps. Finding that deep why, the purpose that anchors you, gives meaning to the struggle. It demands courage, a bold assertion of self. It means looking beyond external approval, beyond what society says your why should be, and finding it inside yourself.
In your own heart.
It's a leap of faith, committing to a path others might not get or approve of. It comes with risks, failure, solitude, and a trembling creature, paralyzed by fear of the unknown. Just can't take that leap.
And this is where Nietzsche connects so powerfully to our theme of deciding. Defining your own why is an act of supreme self-determination. It's a definitive moment of deciding to truly live, not just exist. It takes courage to forge meaning yourself, sculpt your own purpose, not just inherit it or conform.
The leap is the risk.
Exactly. The risk of being misunderstood, failing spectacularly, standing alone, maybe even looking like a fool. A trembling creature is, by definition, paralyzed by that kind of risk. It's tethered to the familiar, the safe, the validated, seeking comfort, approval. So it can't gather the resolve, the sheer audacity to make that leap into its own unknown.
So finding the why isn't gentle.
No, it's a deliberate, conscious act of profound decision, directly opposing that passive, fearful state of trembling. It transforms you from being reactive, pushed around by external forces, into a purpose-driven individual, able to endure so much because your inner compass points to a deeply personal, self-chosen star, one you named yourself.
And we can't talk about agency, finding meaning in uncertainty, without bringing in Camus. Albert Camus.
Absolutely. Essential perspective.
He offers another angle on fighting the tremble. The source reminds us of his stark wisdom. In an absurd world, the only dignity left is the decision we make. Action alone breaks the chains of absurdity.
Powerful.
Camus looked at the universe and saw, well, no inherent meaning, no grand plan, no divine purpose. It's daunting, right? The world's just indifferent, silent.
Can feel that way.
But for him, that wasn't cause for despair, not a reason to just tremble and hide. It was a kind of liberation. If there's no preset meaning, then we get the profound, thrilling responsibility and privilege to create it. Not just by thinking, but by action. Through our conscious choices, our defiance in the face of meaninglessness, our decisions become our declaration, our assertion of being, our rebellion against the void. It's a powerful, almost defiant call to live.
What Camus gives us here is this strong existential anchor for deciding. If you think about it, in a universe without built-in meaning, this absurd world he talked about, where we search for sense but find silence the act of choosing, taking a stand, engaging in deliberate action. That becomes the ultimate assertion of our being, our dignity.
It challenges the trembling.
Directly. It challenges the passivity, the resignation, the paralysis of trembling. The chains of absurdity aren't broken by finding some external answer, but by creating meaning through our own choices and actions. Think of Sisyphus.
Right. Pushing the boulder.
Eternally pushing it up, only for it to roll down. Camus says Sisyphus finds dignity not in succeeding, but in his conscious defiance, his scorn for the absurd task. Every decision, every intentional act, however small, becomes this defiant yes to existence, a personal signature on blank canvas.
So it empowers us.
Hugely. It empowers the individual to find profound significance in their agency. It turns decision-making into an act of self-creation, a quiet heroism against indifference. So how do your decisions, even the small ones, build meaning and dignity in your life? crafting your own story in this vast, indifferent universe.
Now, this idea of having the right to live, decide, make your own path, it can sound a bit, well, arrogant. Maybe.
No, it could be misinterpreted.
Like you think you're better than others. Or you can just do whatever you want, consequences be damned. Like playing God. Our source is really clear here. It offers a crucial distinction. Yet beware. To have the right is not to play God over others.
Very important clarification.
It isn't about hubris or stepping on people or imposing your will without caring about anyone else. That's a total misunderstanding of real freedom and what this right means.
It's an internal state.
Exactly. Self-possession, not external power plays or tyranny. It's about owning your life, not dominating theirs. It's a critical difference, separating genuine self-determination from just ego.
And that clarification is absolutely crucial because individual freedom gets twisted so often in society, in our own heads. True freedom, having the right here, is emphatically not a license for egoism, tyranny, or disregarding others.
Because that would be why?
That would just be another form of control, right? Exercised by you over others, which ironically probably still comes from insecurity, a need for validation or power. Ultimately, still a kind of trembling needing to prove yourself through domination.
Ah, interesting.
The source stresses that having the right is internal. Self-possession, dignity, personal conviction about your authentic path. It's self-mastery, not mastery over others. Often, misunderstandings conflate freedom with no boundaries or entitlement to power, when real freedom is deeply about self-responsibility, ethical engagement, respecting your boundaries and others.
Okay, so if it's not playing God, not unchecked ego, what is the true meaning of having the right? The source tells us, with that clear voice, it's to carry yourself with dignity, to live by the call of your own heart, and to bear the consequences.
That last part.
And to bear the consequences. It's so often skipped over, isn't it? When we romanticize freedom, we want the open road, the thrill, the self-determination. But we shrink from the bumps, the detours, the mistakes, the responsibility of navigating it all.
We want the upside without the downside.
Right. But true freedom, true ownership means accepting what comes next. Good, bad, comfy, painful. It's not about avoiding failure or pain, but standing firm in your choices and accepting their full, sometimes heavy weight. That acceptance. That's where real strength and dignity lie.
And what's fascinating there is the profound, almost sacred link between freedom and responsibility. It suggests real freedom isn't just no external rules or chasing pleasure without accountability.
It's more demanding.
Much more. It's the active, courageous acceptance of the full reality of your choices, including all the ripples, intended or not. Bearing consequences isn't a burden to avoid. It's an act of immense strength. Integrity, self-affirmation. It declares, I chose this, I decided this, and I will face what comes with open eyes.
And this is where Raskolnikov failed.
Exactly. Despite his radical act, he ultimately failed here, as the source points out so sharply. He wanted the right without the burden. He wanted freedom without responsibility. And that is still trembling.
Still trembling, wow.
His inability to bear the moral, psychological weight, his rationalizations, his attempts to escape, it showed that despite defying the ultimate line, he hadn't stopped trembling. He still wanted an escape clause, an exemption from cause and effect, to play God without accountability. So avoiding responsibility is a fundamental form of trembling, a refusal to embrace the reality, the weight of your decisions, and thus a refusal to truly live with dignity.
So after all this deep dive, this philosophical, psychological journey, we circle back, not to some grand theory, but to a daily reckoning.
Back to the everyday.
It boils down to a continuous, intimate choice. Not one huge decision, but 1,000 small ones, hidden in the quiet moments.
Yes.
The source lays out these direct challenges for us. Like whispers of truth. Do I speak the truth or do I keep silent? Do I risk or do I shrink back? Do I live or do I rehearse someone else's script?
They're happening right now.
Yeah. To you, listening, today, in your conversations, your thoughts, your quiet moments, at your core, every time you hesitate to share an idea, bite your tongue, choose comfort over courage, you're making that quiet yet monumental choice, trembling or deciding. These moments, like tiny brushstrokes, paint the picture of your life.
Indeed. These seemingly small, intimate choices adding up over time, they absolutely define the path of your life. Each moment you choose truth, even if it's uncomfortable or risks disapproval or take a calculated risk instead of shrinking back, you strengthen that internal muscle, self-determination, inner courage.
And the opposite.
Conversely, each choice to stay silent, conform, passively follow someone else's script, it diminishes that muscle. It solidifies the trembling creature, builds the wall inside higher. The power here is its accessibility. You realize you have countless opportunities every day, every quiet moment, to assert your agency, to choose freedom.
It's constant.
It is. So I'd encourage you, listener, visualize these moments in your life today. Really feel their weight. When did that quiet voice ask you to choose? How did you respond? And what might happen if you responded differently? Just once. Even a tiny act of courage. How might that ripple through your day, your week, your life?
And this leads us to the really powerful, almost breathtaking conclusion from our source. The liberating part. Freedom is not stepping over others. Freedom is ceasing to tremble before yourself.
Wow. Yeah.
Just pause on that for a second. It completely reframes freedom, doesn't it?
Totally.
It's not external power, not lack of rules, not doing whatever you want, not dominance. It's an internal victory, a profound, intimate liberation. It's about conquering that inner wall, that voice of fear, habit, convention within you.
The real chains are internal.
Exactly. The greatest liberation doesn't come when external circumstances finally line up. It comes from within, from the quiet courage to face yourself without fear. It's a huge shift in perspective. The real battle for freedom isn't out there. It's inside your own heart and mind, in the deepest part of your being. It's the ultimate self-mastery.
This redefinition places the power, the control entirely and beautifully within the individual. It shifts our focus from an outward fight against external limits, laws, bosses, traditions, gods, the faceless crowd, to an inward journey. Self-mastery, self-discovery, self-acceptance.
The battle is internal.
And so the victory is internal. Ceasing to tremble before yourself means actively taking down that wall inside, confronting your deepest fears, challenging your ingrained habits, consciously choosing to align your actions with the true call of your own heart. This perspective gives you profound agency. It recognizes the greatest chains are often the ones we make ourselves through fear, inaction, constantly deferring our truth. It really is about an internal revolution. Liberation from self-imposed limits, allowing you to step into your full, vibrant, authentic self, to truly live, not just exist.
What an incredible, challenging, yes, but ultimately, I think, deeply inspiring journey we've taken today.
It really covers some ground.
We started with that haunting, vital question, am I a trembling creature or do I have the right? We look at how society subtly trains us to tremble, the quiet cost, that half-death of the soul. We explore the daring acts in literature and philosophy. Raskolnikov, Nietzsche, Camus grappling with crossing the line, leaping, finding dignity in decision.
All wrestling with this.
And it all led us to this deeper understanding of true freedom. Not hubris, not external power, but the quiet dignity of bearing consequences. And most powerfully, the liberation of ceasing to tremble before yourself.
It's a powerful set of ideas, definitely, inviting each of us to look inward, at our daily choices, at the whispers of our own heart.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up today, we want to leave you with a thought to carry, something to mull over in your quiet moments. A seed for your own journey.
Okay.
What would it truly look like for you to cease trembling before yourself? Not just once dramatically, but as a guiding principle, a consistent stance.
Yeah.
What profound shifts might that unleash in your relationships, your work, your sense of purpose, your very perception of who you are? What unseen doors might swing open? What vibrant landscapes might unfold if you chose deciding over trembling every single day, every quiet moment?
And now I ask you, with all the weight of this deep dive, today are you trembling or deciding?